seeing that it's almost the end of May, and usually in May or June, it's kind of when the language exams are, depending on what test you're taking. So for me, in less than 10 days, I have my C2 Cils exam. So I wanted to make this video to tell you guys about how I found a tutor for this exam. I started preparing about 6 or 7 months ago. I found my tutor 6 months ago. So yeah, I started preparing 7 months ago. I found a tutor, my first tutor, 6 months ago. So before I start with how I found my tutors, I wanted to talk a little bit about a question that seems to come up every time someone talks about taking an exam like this, whether it be Italian or Spanish or French, really, since they have these kinds of tests in all the languages. Is it worth getting a tutor? For me, although everyone has a different learning strategy, a different way they go about studying for these exams, I think 100% would not regret having a tutor for this exam. I would not be at the level that I am now without having a tutor. I could probably not have prepared myself as well studying just by myself. I think every penny I spent on lessons and all the time as well has been definitely 100% worth it. There's no way I would go back and change anything about that. So yeah, in my point of view, definitely worth it. And getting to how I found my teacher, I used the website called italki. So you've probably heard about this one before. Before I started going about looking for a language teacher, finding a language teacher online was never something that I thought I would be interested in or doing, just because it was a process that I never had done before, so I was skeptical about it, as per about everything. So I started using this 6 months ago. I started booking lessons to study for Italian. I've used this site for other languages too, and I really love it. I haven't tried any of the other language sites just because I'm very content with italki. So I found my tutor, and my tutor, I told her about my upcoming exam and how I was preparing for that. So she kind of was just okay with really whatever I needed to work on, I would tell her, and she would prepare something for that exam. At first I was just kind of going over the grammar really and what I needed to review, seeing that I gave myself a bit of time to prepare for this exam. And then a few months ago I started looking at the parts of the exam more up close. I had been looking at them the whole time, so I started looking at preparing for the oral exam, that kind of thing, the grammar section as well. And so we would work on those kind of things. So I actually have been studying with more than one tutor on this site because just because I have a really weird work schedule. I work 4 different jobs, and so just like balancing time, and a lot of my tutors, I have a few that are students as well at a university, so they kind of have not as much availability in their schedule, so I kind of transition between different ones. I have a tutor specifically that I found a few months ago that is specifically like an examiner for the Cils test, and oh my goodness, I have learned so much. I feel a lot more prepared with the lessons that she has planned out. Every time I wrote something for the written part of the exam, she has corrected it. She has given me so many tips that I never even thought about, that I know is really gonna help me score better on the writing part of the exam, that I could not have achieved with just having a native speaker look over my exam, or someone who's not a teacher necessarily. Because although and I say this for me as well, definitely, when I have my friends ask me to look over their English papers or homework, I'm not necessarily a teacher. I like to help as much as I can, but there are some things that I don't know how to explain, or some tips that I never really thought about giving to help improve. And that's just how it is if you're not, really in the teaching profession, I would say, or if you're not a grammar lover like I am, etc. So I really found that having a tutor has been 100% helpful. italki is a great place to find a tutor. You can find a tutor specifically for whatever test you're taking, if it's You know, for me it's the Cils. If you're taking a Spanish, like the DELE exam, the French is like DELF or something, DELF, I think. You know, there's a lot of other exams. I know in Italian there's another one, the Celi exam for if you want to teach Italian, I believe. Could be wrong, could be very wrong. But yeah, you can just put it in the search bar on italki, and voila, results pop up. Now, the great thing about italki too is the price. It is kind of adjusted at like whatever your budget is. Each teacher has a different rate. So I found that for some teachers, if they're like specifically, how would you say, like trained or an examiner like for a specific test, depending on the test too, it might cost a little more, but generally the rates can be pretty low, especially if you think about how much tutors cost. Like, I know in America, if you're looking for like a tutor at the university or college, like you're paying so much, whereas in italki, I've never paid more than like $12 an hour for a tutor. Like, for me, that's a good compromise, seeing that I'm not in college and I'm not paying for a college tuition. I decided to go with a more, I guess, non-traditional, I don't know what the traditional route is. I'm taking the test to be a translator. I don't know what the traditional route is to be a translator because there's not really one. So yeah, that was just my experience with finding a tutor for the exam, what I've been doing the last 6 months with that, sort of. If you want me to make more videos on how I've been preparing for the exam, what I've been studying, what materials I've been using, those sorts of things, I can definitely make more videos specific. I made 2 others in the past. I'll put the link in the bio if you want to check those out. Happy to make more if you want. If you don't want, it's fine. I won't make any more. If you guys are into languages, traveling, au pair things, be sure to check out my channel for more. Subscribe if you want, and I will catch you all on the flip side. Ciao, ciao.